I've never seen a diamond in the flesh. I cut my teeth on wedding rings.
Dude, that's pretty cool.
Man, that is a sad clown.
Dude, that's pretty good.
This is The Gloom, bringing you weekly interviews with F3 Omaha PACs, exploring their F3 experiences and finding those sticky elements that create the glue in the gloom.
Shout out to our sponsors Major Team Mortgage, Omaha Laser Dentistry, Exclusively Eye Care, and Liberty Core Real Estate. We appreciate their support.
Liberty Core Real Estate is your homegrown real estate broker. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate, whether personal or investment, Armando, aka Brian, and Megan Michaels' company is ready to serve you. With Command Center in Old Town Elkhorn and agents all throughout the metro, they are more than ready to guide and serve you in your next real estate endeavor. Whether your next move needs to happen now or in 5 years, call or text Armando at 402-770-2165 to get your questions answered. And a special offer for F3 Nation PACs members, Liberty Core will donate $250 to your sponsor of choosing for every closed transaction. Stop looking, start finding today with Liberty Core Real Estate.
Now let's get back to the gloom.
And we're back. Man, it's such a joy that I get to do this. And this guy is no different than any other, just a phenomenal leader and man within the gloom, but also really leading his family well. And so just got to enjoy getting to know this guy, not just through regular F3, but also through the F3 Omaha Impact Retreat last year, which was pretty cool. And I got my man Al Borland, or AB, as we like to call him, on with me today. And AB, where we like to start is just who he aged you, what was the first workout like, all that sort of stuff. If you remember who cued, any of that sort of stuff. And then how'd you get the name Al Borland?
Yeah, right on. Thanks, Blake. Thanks for having me on this morning. This is pretty cool. Yeah, man. So I started with F3 about 2 years ago, last August. Pantyhose EH'd me. Pantyhose is F3 Omaha's favorite Hawkeye. We are actually from the same hometown. I think he's got me by about 6 or 7 years, maybe. But
Okay.
he went to high school with my older siblings, and then actually he kind of EH'd me to my job too, which is interesting. So. Yeah, Pantyhose hit me up on an IM at work and was like, "Hey, I've been doing this thing. I think you might like it. You want to go?" And I was a pretty soft commit. Seemed pretty early in the morning. I want to say we had just had 2 years ago. I had a young one at home then too, and it seemed like a lot. But he got me out. It was at the combine. Armbar was the cue of the day, and I think LPC was running the show there at that time. And it was an awesome experience just to see that many guys would get up that early in the morning in a good mood, and willing to put in the work. It was awesome. I was pretty much hooked. I still had some doubts, had some concerns about what exactly was going on this early in the morning, but the guys there seemed pretty cool.
So tell us about when you went into the circle at the end. Sort of how did we get to the name? I'm assuming you're somebody's neighbor, right? Is that or what's?
Oh man, so Al Borland, right? He's the sidekick on Tool Time to Tim the Toolman Taylor. Honestly, I think the PACs probably got it wrong. I probably should have been the Tool Man or Tim Taylor, but
right.
But it's okay. It's all right. It's growing on me. So I'm not. I don't know. I didn't really know what to talk about in this circle. Like a lot of guys, you get in there and you're like, what is this, right? And one of the major things. So my wife. So yeah, we had just had my son Callum. So my wife is a heavy-duty nester. I think we have we've built a patio. we've remodeled the bathroom. And for this kid, we were in the process of um, building out a kitchen renovation. And so with that project, we kind of were really ambitious. We took down a wall, we took out flooring. I built the cabinets,
Wow.
and so that was the story I told, and that's how I got Al Borland.
Yeah, they should. We should have went with Tool Time
Yeah, it's all
yeah,
right.
Tim Taylor. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
grown on me. I like it. I
yeah.
don't think it's my I don't think it's the beard that I'm able to grow. I don't think that was what did it. So
Now, so tell me, so you did all of those things yourself? You have sort of like a background in that, or just self-taught, or how have you always kind of been able to pick up on that stuff?
mostly it's like ignorance.
Oh.
The ability, ignorance in my abilities to do things. No, woodworking, building things, being creative with my hands has always been a hobby of mine.
Okay.
I'm an engineer by trade, so I get a lot of desk time and a lot of time planning things for other people to do, and so I like to build in my
Yeah.
free time. So um, built quite a bit of furniture. Never a full kitchen, so that was fun. But mostly ignorance is how I got myself into that mess.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. I used to, I had a woodworking hobby, and then I made something for my wife's cousin, and somehow in the staining process, it ended up completely staining and ruining their living room carpet. And so I think
Oh
that
man.
was the point I stopped.
Oh
I was
man.
like, okay. Then my wife got interested in metal things, but I'm curious. At the time, was there, other than having a newer baby, anything else going on that you feel like got you ready to this point where you're like, okay, I'll go try this goofy thing at 5 a.m. Anything else going on in life, or just maybe fitness goals, or
You know, so my fitness had probably been falling off for a number of years and maybe not really recognizing it. When I was younger, I was into fitness quite a bit. But it was always through like a team sport, you know? And
mm-hmm.
so about the time that I joined, there was a lot of stuff going on with the COVID and the work from home situation, and some of my personal decisions had left me a little in the cold as far as just that social. I was working from home,
Yeah,
and I was kind of missing that connection to a lot of people. Um, and honestly, probably pantyhose. I was commiserating with pantyhose quite a bit on some of these things, and I think maybe he was sensing that, hey, this
yeah,
guy needs to get outside and
yeah,
and find some people that would hang out with him. So it hit me at a really good time. Just helped me, yeah, just helped me reconnect and not be so negative, not see so many things in such a negative light,
yeah.
which was pretty easy to do at that time in our lives. So
Yeah, for sure. Well, and cheers to being on the other side of that, right? The
absolutely.
group was the same, even being in the group and then sort of zooming into that time frame. It was, I think, yeah, there was a need for that for men for sure. The other thing I recognize is I think so you started the group, and then fairly early on, I feel like we were praying for your son, and curious the impact that had, or how did you come in so quickly and feel comfortable getting vulnerable in that space? Was there, like, did you post every day? How did you sort of
Yeah,
get to that?
so I was posting quite a bit through the winter, and then so I joined in August, and then in February, pretty early in February, the exact dates um, escaping me right now, but my son was diagnosed with a choroid plexus papilloma, which is a type of brain tumor, and I don't know why, but I certainly had a bond with a lot of the guys that I posted with regularly, and this was a situation where we needed help. I mean, my family needed help.
Mm-hmm.
We needed ideas. We needed someone to kind of talk things out with, and the easiest thing to do, honestly, there was just kind of share,
Mm-hmm.
share in the COT, and just ask for prayers, ask for advice, lean on guys that have gone through things with their kids, and so that's just what we decided to do.
Yeah, I love that. I guess the sort of result of that story, or talk us through sort of the rest of that, because I think you shared, and then we're able to kind of benefit from some other guys' experience there.
Yeah, so it was a Friday. I don't remember, again, I don't remember the day. It was a Friday. We found this out, and it was sort of a like an incidental finding
Mm-hmm.
from a they were looking at some sort of, sometimes babies' heads can get a little misshapen. I'm not in the medical field,
Yeah.
but they wear a helmet for a while or whatever. And so my son had a sort of a nodule, and they went in to do a CT just to make sure all the seams um, were fusing correctly in the skull, and they
Mm-hmm.
were. But they found, when they did the CT, that's when they found the tumor, and that was a Friday. And so I think Saturday and Sunday that week, I mean, my wife and I basically just sat in our living room staring at each other and him, and
Mm-hmm.
trying to get her head and arms around what had gone on, right? And I think it must have been Monday. It was Monday. Yeah, it was Monday at Red Wings, and I showed up, and Pantyhose was there. And, oh, hey, hey, how was your weekend? And I just kind of told him, I said, no, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. We got some serious things going on right now, and I told him, and then I think I shared again Tuesday in the COT, and I think Thomas was there, and he reached out afterwards and said, hey, um, sorry you're going through this. I know a family that had to go through this just last year, and it Josh and Kelsey Saltz. Why don't reach out to them, and I think they can help. And Josh has since joined F3, Uncle Jesse, if you know
Yeah.
him. But so that night at dinner, we were sitting there still kind of in shock, and I said, hey, I got this number. I mean, they're complete strangers. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
them. You don't know them.
Yeah.
Do you want to just call them and see? And we called them that night and got everything from their history. They put us in touch with a surgeon in Memphis at Le Bonheur Children's Hospital, and we started texting that doctor that evening. He was at a dinner party, so it took us a little bit, but he was
Mm-hmm.
texting back and forth with us, and by the next day um, we were ready to pack our bags and head to Memphis. So
Wow.
yeah, so we went down there on a Friday. He had a pre-op appointment on a Monday. Surgery was on the Tuesday, which was 2/22 of 2022.
Wow.
2/22. Yeah, 10 days later we're home and he's doing well, and we've met a lot of amazing people through that journey, and have had an opportunity to help a few other families um, walking down that path as well. So
Man, that is such an amazing story to me, and so things are going well today. It sounds like, you know,
yeah, he's a happy Henri, big brother now.
yeah,
So
yeah. Tell us, I think just because partly because I'm curious, but also just so guys know. So you had a baby. You had baby number 4
3 days ago.
3 days ago.
3
Yeah,
days ago, yeah. Yeah, so you haven't seen me. You didn't see me last week,
yeah,
and you're not going to see me this week.
yeah,
Next week, I hope I'm back at it, but
yeah,
sleep deprivation is real.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, sometimes at that stage, right, you're posting because you're just already up, right? You
yes,
just
exactly.
you're like, well, I'm already awake. I might as well go to a workout. Yeah, man. Well, and thanks for sharing that story. I think what's so cool to me is you leaned on the group, right, in this time where you had no clue what to do, and to me, it's SkyQ, right, gets involved and has somebody there that has some connection, just like totally random, right? Like you could never plan for that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what's so great about F3, and I guess I would be missing a kind of a key part of the story too. Like T-Ball is also he's a neurosurgery, I believe,
PA.
or
Yep.
neuroscience PA.
Yep.
And so after we had met with three different doctors and this doctor from Memphis, Dr. Paul Klimo, I kind of called T-Ball for like a side consult,
Mm-hmm.
and and it doesn't have to be a brain tumor, but just having guys that you can like lean into and just get a different perspective on things is so powerful.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure. What? Tell me, it's interesting, right? Like a lot of guys, they'll come into the group. They kind of start posting regularly. Then they maybe go to coffee to build relationships. But like, did this event and sort of the engagement with the packs that early on? I mean, did that help forge some relationships pretty early, or how have you gone about that second F piece?
yeah, I mean, I think I was just so hungry for that. Like just
Mm-hmm.
like I said, the COVID was at a kind of a tough spot. Sort of at that age where certainly my high school friendships had kind of fallen
Yeah.
to the backside. Some of my college friendships had kind of dematerialized a bit. So I was really looking for a community to kind of lean into and get that, you know, get some friendship, get some brotherly
Mm-hmm.
interactions going.
Yeah.
And so that was most of it. And it really, like, it was pretty apparent to me that from the first day that like that's what this is,
Mm-hmm.
or it's a cult. Turned out not to be, which is great.
Well,
Um,
we won't find out until the last day. That's the
that's how that works, isn't
yeah.
it?
That's funny. I
No.
you know I love that, and I'm curious too if along the way, I mean, from a kind of bouncing around here a little bit, but from a first F perspective, have you seen improvements there? Where are you at today from a fitness perspective?
Oh man, I think I'm like 99% of everybody. Like definitely my baseline fitness is way higher, but
Mm-hmm.
if I were to be completely honest, I'm in a bit of a valley now. Like it's not as low as it's been, but I think it ebbs and flows, and um, but definitely feel better. Um, I'm not intimidated by a 5K or even a 10K um, any longer. So yeah, fitness in general has been elevated, and it just helps. It's so important. It helps us so everything else that you do, how you interact with other people, how you approach your day. I mean, it's honestly, it's. I guess there's a reason it's the first F, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
for
important.
sure. Yeah, it's interesting too because the ebbing and flowing is, I think that's how it probably life is long term for most of us, right? It is like there are just times where you're able to get out there more and you're doing more, running longer, whatever, and then there are times where you're not, and sort of as life has its ups and downs, our fitness does too. It's kind of one of those things that as long as we're sort of that baseline, like you mentioned, kind of keeps bumping up a little bit, and we're able to be healthy longer and be there for our kids, right? I think that's the other thing. You've got how old are your kids?
Yeah. So my daughter Vivian is 9, and then I've got a son Hank. He'll be 7 in 2 weeks. Callum will be 3 in March, and then Easton 3 days old. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
you
right in the
got your
thick of it.
hands full, man. That's
Yes, we do.
yeah, but not quite the cataracts level, not quite 9. So it's
No,
manageable, right?
no, I think, yeah, I don't think we're going to see
Yeah,
those sort of that sort of protection out of this family.
yeah. Well, I'm curious too, from a second F perspective. When you think about, the QSource talks about the concentrica and just kind of in that vein of relationships, but how do you feel like has F3, obviously has impacted, your son and your family in that way, but how, from a relationship perspective, has it given you better focus on your marriage and being a father and some of those key friendships, or what's your take on that?
Oh man, for sure. I think being a husband and being a dad is a really tricky game that we play, and
Mhm.
I certainly don't get it right. Um, Man, it might be maybe it's 50-50. I feel like there's a lot of ways that you can kind of mess these things up in small ways, and certainly F3 has really helped shine the light on what's important. I'm not saying that like I get it right all the time still, but
Mhm.
I think it's definitely helped me understand and learn from the other guys, like you know just kind of how what the aim is, right? Maybe not, like I said, I don't think I probably get it right as much
Yeah.
as I want to, but just where your focus needs to be and when what's really important in life. So um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Have Have you had a chance to get involved in a shield lock or participate in any of the other, like, we kind of have some kind of shield locks, right? Like Queen Service and some of those groups, but where are you at on that front?
Yeah, so no, I'm not in a shield lock, uh, I would say an official shield lock,
Hmm.
but I certainly have the guys that I know I can trust and I'm real comfortable around. And I think I can trust most of the guys. So that's not the right word, but the guys that
Yeah.
I'm really comfortable with, and the guys that know me, and the guys that I can go to when there's something up. Definitely there. The shield lock thing, just I don't know why. It's probably something maybe to put on the New Year's resolution for 2024.
Yeah. It's interesting, right? Because we were just talking to somebody else about this, that like, for some guys, right, they come into F3 and they reconnect with some guys they've known for a long time, right? And then it's sort of easy to say, hey, let's get the band back together, go a little bit deeper. But then for other guys, it's tough, right? Because there's a certain level of commitment that if I'm committing to my M and my 2.0s, and that's taken the majority of my time, I don't want to engage in a commitment that I don't think I can sort of, uphold my end of the deal. And I think that's where, at least I find myself, is like, really the only time I have to get together is in the gloom in the morning, right? So it's
Right.
like, outside of that, I think it's really tough. And I think we're kind of all in a shield lock. Just if you show up to a workout in the morning, right, we've got your back. And so I don't know. I think it's interesting to see how different guys have engaged there.
Yeah, man, I definitely like to lean into um, the Q sources and the cafeterias, and to me that's as important as the beatdown. But um, yeah, that's really where I get my shield lock time.
Yeah. Tell us about that. Have you, so QSource, have you been able to participate in many of those?
So the last several months I have not, but the combine is kind of where I get my Q source. I think I've probably worked through it once. I think I've been through
Okay.
about the whole thing once.
What's been your take on that?
Man, if I'm just being honest, it's such a great um, demonstration of leadership
Hmm.
and uh, and the perspectives in Q source. I think they're just unique. I don't think I've found those in any other. I've taken leadership courses and been in leadership programs, and I just don't think you get it quite the same way as you get it in QSource.
Yeah.
So I've taken a lot from it. There's, yeah, there's just when I work with the team, um, through work or even at home with my kids, sometimes it's just like reflecting back on whatever lesson, was the topic, and always finding a way to kind of connect back to that. It's been real cool.
Yeah. What would you say to, like, guys that maybe haven't done it, or have maybe been hesitant to go to a Q source? Any advice, sort of maybe what's the right mindset to attend one of those in?
Man, just show up when LPC's there. I mean, he'll fill the void. Uh, mostly
Yeah.
mostly intellectual uh, thoughts. I mean, he's fun to listen to.
Yeah.
show up with LPC. You'll learn something, and you won't even have to talk. He'll do it
I
for
love
you.
that. Yeah, that's awesome. I want to contrast too, because at the Berm, right, you do TNT, so Truth Nugget Thursday, and there's some similarities, but a little bit different. I don't know how would you sort of describe the two?
Yeah, so I was site Q at the Berm for I just finished a few weeks ago. And we would do TNT on Thursdays after the beatdown, and I don't know, I would call it kind of like like freestyle QSource
Yeah.
or QSource light maybe like not real structured, just an opportunity for the guy leading that day or anyone else for that matter, just to kind of pose a question to the group, find something important to them, and just share, and then receive from others when they share. I think
Mm.
I think you get to the same place as QSource as far as openness and learning and some vulnerability. Is just a little less structured way of getting there.
Yeah. Yeah, I love both, and there's nothing quite like a on-site coffee and a TNT at the Berm. When the weather's nice, I think there's been some really cool mornings, and I like a lot of it too has been, guys got maybe a COT, and then TNT is like an extension of that with maybe
Yeah,
some more discussion questions. But yeah, both of those are really cool, and you get to know guys on a little bit different level, right? You start hearing their thoughts about deeper topics, and which helps build relationships for sure.
for sure.
Tell me, I think some of this too, when I listened to your story, and obviously we got to spend some time together at the Impact Retreat, but thinking about, your experience from a third F perspective, what's that journey been like for you?
Yeah, so the third F is not a strength of mine, I would say. It's an area for improvement. You know, um, I would say that my family hasn't prioritized that to the degree which I would say that like I would be ecstatic about. It's definitely um, we're definitely at the start of that journey as a family unit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for me personally, just I mean this opportunity to 3, 4, 5, 6 days a week if you want. I don't know if I've done 6, but 4 or 5 days a week to get out and um, just take a moment every day to reflect, to pray, to share what's on your mind. I mean that's so much more than I was doing, and I think it's so much more than what probably people do on a um, over the course of their life. So it has had a big effect in me, in my family, and just how we try to take a minute just to value what we have,
Mm-hmm.
um, be appreciative for things, and um, and kind of yeah. I don't know how to frame it because it's not it's certainly not it doesn't have to be a religious
Yeah.
um, experience. But it's definitely a spiritual um, component to F3.
Yeah, well, for sure. And curious, did you grow up? What was faith like for you growing up? Did you grow up in a family that went to church, or did any of that sort of stuff, or is that sort of new?
Yeah, that's newer for me. I mean, my family would, um, my parents would send us to Sunday school, sort of thing.
Nice.
um, the commitment uh, to sitting in church on Sunday was not real high, and
Hmm.
unfortunately, we kind of like um, continued that a little bit on our end, but um, certainly an area of emphasis. Move.
Yeah. Well, I think like many of the Fs, right? It's we're all on this roadmap, right? And it's like, okay, different things happen in life, and I think the QSource would call this the flux, right? And so there's different seasons, different things going on, and I'm curious your thoughts, sort of where were you at last year that sort of got you to say, hey, I'm gonna dive in and do this impact retreat. What sort of led you to participate in that?
Yeah, so the impact retreat was a super fantastic opportunity to kind of explore the third F a lot more than I'd been able to, and
Mm-hmm.
I knew I would be around a lot of guys that were strong in this, and were coming to it from a much different perspective than me. And so I was honestly just genuinely curious to see kind of how deep I could look into this, third F component,
Yeah.
and just experience. I was just interested in the whole experience, I guess. And so I think it's had an impact on me. Um, it was a man. It was such a cool experience, cool group of guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
We, I think there was so much, right, that's packed into that weekend, and so many different talks, and you sort of do the guided meditation and going and reflecting, and then you've got group time, and so it's a lot to take in a short amount of time. But I think for me, the like question I came home, kept asking myself was like, what's stopping me from taking time away from work, and to just reflect even outside of that setting. Why does it have to be a trip and a thing where like why is it so hard? I don't know, because that to me was really the huge eye opener, is like, wow, if I just created space to like
Hmm.
block out the rest of the world for a minute or even an hour, right? I can even make it like 10 minutes on my own is really hard. So I think that was a huge learning. And then just getting to be with other guys, I think, like you said, hearing all these perspectives from guys at different points of their faith is super powerful. So what would you say to a guy? And I love that you went purely for what I think the intent of the retreat is for, right? Is to go and explore. But what would you say to a guy that's maybe on the fence, sort of, should I go? Should I not go? I mean,
Oh
you
man,
found it
if you
valuable.
yeah, if you're on the fence and you have the opportunity to do this, just jump in, man. Just jump in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're gonna be better for it. I don't know if you're gonna be 10% better or 50% better, but you're gonna walk away from that better than when you showed up.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that's worth it enough, right?
Yeah. Heck yeah. The other piece, we like to get your thoughts on the third F. So in F3, right, there's sort of this third F kind of spiritual side, but also this third F, community service, and sort of how we give back. I want to get your thoughts on that, because I believe you've done some stuff through your son's. There's a foundation, or to give us maybe more information on some of that stuff that you've been able to help out with.
Yeah. So yeah, our energy for the third F has really went to, um, so yeah, following up on my son and his brain tumor. We joined up with a group called Sammy Strong. And that's a foundation that was started by a family here in Omaha that their son had a sort of a similar experience a few years earlier, and so they've built this foundation where um, they host a number of events throughout the year, and we tend to help them with that, help run the events and kind of promote their cause, and the money that they raise goes to help families get to the care
That's cool.
that their kids need. So they pay for maybe a stipend for meals while you're away, or maybe help with the hotel room. They also give back to um, like the OT departments, occupational therapy departments, the rehab um, facilities, and they give toys and equipment and money to help support those people making a difference. So that's where we've really focused our efforts
That's super
the
cool.
last couple of years.
Is that particular brain tumor or type of tumor, like, is that common? Is that pretty common or it's or not really? I guess I don't know enough about it.
Yeah, no, Callus tumor is super rare. The surgeons we had talked to in Omaha had not operated on that tumor in the location where it was. And then the guy that Dr. Klimo in Memphis has that does hundreds of surgeries a year, and I think he had only seen a couple in that spot. There are other tumors I think that can grow in that third ventricle, but it is a little rare for the type that he had to be where it was.
You get through that foundation. Do you guys have an opportunity to just sort of come alongside parents and support them as they're going through that same sort of initial shock and like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? Kind of.
Yeah, so this is more my wife's mission. Man, I don't have that same tenacity for this as she does. But she finds families that are going through this locally. We try to get them hooked up with Sammy Strong. I know she's handing out Dr. Klimo's phone number like almost on business cards now. So anytime she sees a family that's struggling with this, she reaches out and she gets them in contact. And and my thing is like our path might not be like your path if you find yourself in this or any other situation. But just having the ability to kind of weigh the direction you're going, get another opinion, um, just see the different options available to you, I think is so important, especially in a situation like that where you have to make a decision that's potentially pretty impactful.
Yeah, for sure, man. What's it like to love your dentist? Well, you're about to find out, where healthy smiles go beyond your teeth. No drilling, no needles, and no anxiety. Relax, it's Omaha Laser Dentistry. Welcome to better. At Omaha Laser Dentistry, Dr. Borland uses the Solea laser, a CO2 laser that's used in all of his day-to-day patient care. He provides thorough exams, assessments, and treatments for things like snoring, tethered tissue, and extractions like wisdom teeth, as well as other surgeries. Check him out today at omahalaserdentistry.com. Discounts may be available for F3 Omaha members. Definitely. Well, I love that. I think that's super cool that you guys get to give back in that way. I think the other piece, right, when we think about F3 is this mission statement of invigorating male community leadership. And, we try to do that through VQs and obviously through guys leading a site. And just wonder if you would talk to us about your time at the Berm and sort of from a leadership perspective, has anything been able to translate to maybe home or work life?
Oh man, everything translates, right? I mean, it's leading at the Berm has been, I mean, honestly, such a great opportunity for me. You find out like real quick that it's not really all that much about you, but that's okay anyways, because we need to be good servant leaders. And just having a chance to reach out to all these guys, connect with them, even briefly, one-on-one, just check in on them, see if they're ready for their VQ, see if they're ready to queue, talk to them about TNT, and just get to know them a little better has been amazing. Just a great experience. And so, not a ton of effort. I mean, the biggest effort was getting the coffee together, and then Slow Clap introduced me to Christmas light timers, and that got a lot easier. That coffee started making itself. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
What tell us a little bit about how you landed on Schnitzel as the successor there. What was that process like?
Yeah, I mean Schnitzel's he's a super high impact man. There's so many guys that can and should lead a site. Certainly a number of them at the Berm, but Schnitzel always shows up with this big smile on his face. he's always in a good mood. And his energy is sort of contagious, I think.
Mhm.
It's maybe a little more subdued than like a Chucky per se,
Sure.
uh, but nah, he's a great guy. He's gonna do a great job. He's a young dad too.
Yeah.
He's got kids. He's got a family. Um, I just think I picked him because I think he's gonna do a great job at the Berm.
Yeah. Heck yeah, man. I'm curious if you have any fun memories or stories or just things that maybe happened at the Berm as you were the site Q. Anything you remember that really sticks out as like fun or memorable?
Oh man, there's yeah, for sure. So I think it was like maybe a few weeks before. Uh, maybe it was before I was going to be Site Q, but certainly under Toto's reign, wait time kind of took us through the condo parking lot across the street, and
Oh yeah.
we got a couple neighbors riled up. It was totally unintentional, and I think maybe this particular individual was a little too excited about this, but he came over and he was real confused. He came over to the Berm, and I think he thought maybe we were like a ROTC group or I don't know what, but he asked for our commander, and it was pretty it was it was pretty fun watching Toto go over there and handle the situation. And then I mean, by the end of the conversation, he was EHing this guy.
Yeah.
It was unsuccessful, but it was entertaining to watch that.
That's funny.
Gosh, there's been so many good workouts. I think Sparty took us on a hunt for a leprechaun
Mm.
for a St. Patrick's Day beatdown. Last winter we had that real cold spell. It was the -40 wind chill day, and the wind chill's even colder than that at the Berm,
Hmm.
up on the hill with the wind. And we did sort of a 12 days of Christmas, string of pearls, kind of through the neighborhood. And Turbine, um, Turbine was there, and he was ready for a polar expedition that morning. He had the -40 boots on, the ski pants, and we were running, man. We were moving, and about halfway through, he's like, "Guys, I'm redlining. I think I'm gonna die." I mean, he was even at -40. He was sweating it up in the snowsuit, and that was pretty fun. That was a fun morning, and it was also a little comical because he was really playing it up.
That is funny. What about the recent the turkey hunt? How did that turn out? Were
Oh
you
my
able to make it
gosh.
to that?
Yeah, I was at the turkey hunt. That was a level of creativity I I did not expect from Motorboat. That
Yeah.
was top notch. We learned we had a couple folks downrange. I don't know what they took back to Indiana and Sacramento, but we had to just reassure them that we don't typically dress in camouflage and have a grown man running around in a turkey suit uh,
Right.
for a beatdown.
That was pantyhose, right? Ended
It
up
was
being
pantyhose. Yeah,
the
no idea.
yeah.
No idea. He parked around the corner. I was a little disappointed not to see him there that morning. Um, I had just missed the early group of runners, and so I show up to go run, and I was like, oh, I'll try to go catch him. I know a little shortcut I could maybe catch up to him. And there was a new guy there from Sacramento, and his name's Scooper, and this guy's a runner, and I knew I was in trouble because I could tell, like, oh no.
Yeah.
So he went with me, man. We went. I think I set like a new PR, and
Hmm.
everything up every quarter mile up to a 5K, and then we caught up with the guys that were running the 10K, and I noticed pantyhose wasn't there. Like, oh, that's odd. This is usually his thing, and sure enough, he was the turkey.
That's funny. Yeah, I remember seeing I was supposed to be there. Chucky and I got lost on a run, and then we got back late.
That's right.
But yeah, I remember hearing the turkey was really fast, and so then I thought, okay, must be pantyhose.
He was fast, that's for sure.
Well, I love it, man. It's just so special to lead a site, right? And our site cues are often the point of contact for a lot of our new guys, or even the existing packs, when they have an idea or just need help, they tend to lean on you guys. So I appreciate you serving in that capacity. I'm curious if there's any advice or sort of words of wisdom you would share, maybe with other site Qs, or even other guys as they're trying to figure this group out. Anything in that space?
My sort of early on, my objective was to have as many unique cues as possible. I mean, I think I made it like 40 of the 52 cues were unique cues. I only had a handful of guys double and triple up, and so I think I think maybe there's a balance there, but like definitely getting as many guys involved as you can is always great. Invite people up that don't come up. See if you can get them to bring an FNG. Reach out to someone they know in the area, and it just having not having the same 10, 11, 12 guys leading, I think is
Huge.
yeah, I think it's huge.
Yeah. What would you say? So Stripes and I have been talking about this a lot, sort of this title of the Windiest AO. Have you been to Badger Point?
Yeah, I was there. There wasn't. I took my anemometer. There was no wind. I don't know. They kind of sit down in a valley. It's real protected, a little cushy.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not windy.
It's not windy. Okay. I love it. All right. Well, I'll follow up with Stripes on that. He seems to think it's the windiest, or it's windier than the Berm, but depends on the day, I'm sure.
Yeah. Tuesdays are not windy up there. So
for sure, I love it. Anything else in sort of your story, your journey? I mean, you've sort of a couple times as you've been talking about your journey with your son, you've kind of said, and anything else you're going through, lean in on the packs. But what's in that anything else space for you in your story? Anything that we maybe missed or didn't get to cover?
Oh man, when I say that, I think a lot about being a dad and being a husband, and even now, like when my wife and I reflect back on everything that my son Callum's gone through, like my daughter had ear tubes before, when she was 2, 4 or 5 years before this, man, and that was the biggest thing going on in my life that day. And it's kind of silly now, but like, I don't know, everyone's going through their own thing, and especially with your kids, big or small, it's always a big deal. With your marriage, big or small, it can be a big deal, and and just lean in. I mean, don't be afraid to lean in, even on small things.
Yeah,
that's kind of my angle on that.
That's great advice. I think it's what's so key there too, right? Is like if you lean in, the sooner you lean in, you can almost prevent some small things from becoming, bigger things, right? It's if you wait till it hits the fan to lean in, then it's harder to help, right? It's sort of like, well, it's for sure. I love that, man. When you think about just where you guys are at, and obviously praying for you and your family and everybody's health, but where do you see yourself needing prayers, encouragement these days? Next time we see you out there.
Oh man, I think it's going to be a little bit. I mean, I'll be honest. I think it's going to be a little bit of a tough winter for me. I've got a brand new baby, man. This kid is just 3 days old. Easton, he's doing really well. Mom's doing great. He's obviously my focus. Helping my M through her maternity leave is going to be important, but I have a tendency to enjoy my sleep. So, if you want to hit me up and say, hey, why don't you make sure I haven't seen you for a couple days, whatever. Like I'm going to need that this winter for sure. Just to stay on top of things.
Absolutely, man. Well, hey, B, this has been great. And I just would say, I don't know if you know this, but for me, the time you were sharing about your son's journey was a time in my life where I was really resentful and didn't necessarily like my daughter at the time. So it was really crucial for me to hear what you were going through, to realize how grateful I needed to be And I know a lot of other guys, right? When you think about like just hearing somebody else's prayers, hearing what somebody else is going through, that causes some reflection on our own lives to sort of say, okay, I don't need to be angry or frustrated or annoyed with my kids, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
the biggest issue we have is my kid doesn't want to eat, or something that is totally trivial compared to what you guys were going through. But just want to say thank you for your leadership and just the man that you are. I think I just have really appreciated getting to know you the last couple of years. So
Oh man, thanks. I'm glad I'm glad other people, and I mean, were able to take from that, because I feel like I take so much from this group all the time. So
yeah,
um, I'm happy to share if it's helpful.
yeah. Love it, man. Well, we'll do a little name-orama here to close us out. Brandon Flehardy, 37, The Plague.
The Plague. Kyle Koslerich, 35, Al Borland.
Al Borland. And have we come up with a call sign or anything we say?
I get some I don't think so Tims from Truly every once in a while.
That's fun.
The Binford Tools theme song would be appreciated if anyone wants to bring a mic or a speaker. We can get that going.
I love it. Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, I'll work on that. We'll get next time you come out. We'll have to get a speaker with a mic. What did you say? The Bedford Tool song?
Yeah, Binford Tools. That's the
Oh,
Tool Time. It's the
got
Tool
it.
Time theme song.
Love it. Awesome, man. Hey, thanks for your time today. This has been great.
Right on. Thanks, Blake.
See you, buddy.
See you.